The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker.
Oh, Lord.
Not Smokey.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest.
Y'all ain't know what happened to Chris Tucker? Well, it gets a little deep. See, Chris Tucker had a problem. He films this movie called Rush Hour, and suddenly he becomes the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Not comedy actor, the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Every script in Hollywood wants a piece of Chris, but Chris starts turning down roles. Why, you ask? Well, let's just say they were asking him to do things that he wasn't a fan of.
Chris Tucker is finally spilling the tea. At least that's how the streets are framing it. And the claim isn't that he bounced from Hollywood for a bigger bag, but because lines were being crossed, he wouldn't co-sign, period.
Cube want to do another one because Cube, of course, it's like, you know, he kind of created Fridays, and I was in the first one. Yeah. And Cube, after I did the first Fridays back then, I never thought about doing sequels. I always wanted to do a good job and keep moving to the next movie. So Cube asked me back in, I think it was 96 or 97. He's Chris, we want to do another Fridays, man. And I was just like, nah, I don't want to do another Fridays. I want to do like Eddie Murphy and them did. I want to do Money Talks. I did Money Talks, and then eventually did Rush Hour. I said, I don't want to do another. And he said, what? You sure? I was like, nah, I don't want to do another. So he couldn't believe it, but he kept moving, and he got Mike Epps, and they went and did another one, and it was great. He did two of them, and they were.
Word is he was being nudged toward freak-off type scenes and other wild industry games, and he wasn't with it. Full stop. This was the same guy who'd hit the peak as one of the highest paid actors out, only to end up iced out so heavy he could barely get a cameo, let alone a lead. Wild, right?
Tucker not talked about being in next Friday, because I know it was Mike Epps, but...
We wanted him. You know, he turned it down. Yeah, we wanted to pay him $12 million to do that movie.
What?
And he turned it down. He said it was for religious reasons. He didn't want to cuss, and he didn't want to smoke weed on camera.
The machine didn't stall. They slid in new faces quick. Actors allegedly more willing to play along with whatever was on the menu. And the chatter tossed names like Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, and Jamie Foxx into the mix. Strictly rumor talk, not proven facts. Then the whispers got even messier. People online claimed Jamie was poisoned, while Martin was out here saying someone was after him.
And not even begin to tell you how far it took me and how it brought me back. I went through something that I thought I would never ever go through. And I know a lot of people were waiting, or wanting to hear updates, but to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. I want you to see me laughing. Now, by being quiet, sometimes things, get out of hand. People saying what I got. Some people said I was blind, but as you can see, the eyes are working. The eyes are working just fine. Said I was paralyzed. I'm not paralyzed. But I did go through. And, I know they talk about people crying on videos. You could do take two, but I'm not going to do a take two. It is what it is. And if you see me out from now on and every once in a while, I just burst into tears, is because it's been tough, man. I was sick, man. But now I got my legs under me, so you're going to see me out. But like I said, I just want you to remember me for the jokes that I crack, the movies that I make. Some of them good, some of them ain't. I think I got a good one out. And the songs that I sing, man. And then, some people were talking about I'm cloned.
But none of that has been verified with solid receipts, so take it easy before calling it gospel. You can see why Chris kept quiet about why he dipped. Watching those headlines fly would make anybody move careful. A few years back, when folks pressed him on skipping a return to Friday, he gave a clean answer. He didn't want to do sequels anymore. Simple, safe, and straight to the point.
Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, Jamie Foxx. They were saying, hey, we'd love to do them. And to be fair, they did amazing jobs at those roles. Now, since they did such a good job, they didn't really need Chris anymore. But that was fine with Chris. When I say he was turning down movies, I mean he turned down hundreds of millions of dollars worth of movies. And it's literally just as simple as he didn't want to do it. He didn't want all that came with it. Other people decided to fill the role.
But here's where fans called cap. Not disrespectful, just honest confusion. because right after that he popped back with Rush Hour, then doubled down with Rush Hour 2 and Rush Hour 3, with years of talk about a possible fourth in the air. So clearly it wasn't sequels, it was something deeper he didn't want to unpack in public. Real talk. Chris has always been heavy on faith, and that changes the whole equation. When your values don't match the room, the money stops mattering fast. So when the asks got funky and the vibe felt off, he stepped back, kept his spirit clean, and left the circus to spin without him. No drama needed, just boundaries. He later explained that one big reason he didn't want to return to Friday was simple. Most of the cast smoked on set, and that scene wasn't his vibe. Health, faith, and boundaries first. So he passed on the smoke-filled energy, period. Once Chris started declining roles, the suits didn't beg or hover. They kept it moving and plugged in people who'd follow direction without pushback. At least that's how the chatter framed it, and it happened fast enough to make heads spin. And like I mentioned before, names that kept getting floated were Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx, and Kevin Hart.
And Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx reported him to the FBI because of it. I know that's a fact.
So, wait, you're saying that Diddy poisoned Jamie Foxx and that's how Jamie Foxx got sick?
Jamie Foxx reported this man to the FBI because of this. Facts.
Wow. Okay, and how did you hear about this? If you can tell me, or if you can't, that's all good. But you know what I'm saying? Like, well, you know, people are they're gonna want to know, you know what I'm saying, how this happened, or you know what I'm saying, what's the backstory to this?
But by the time this drop, this is gonna be in the stratosphere. It's gonna be in the ether by the time this drop. You can probably look it up right now. But by the time this interview drop, this is gonna be out in the ether for sure. These people poison people, bro. I've been poisoned 3 times. Why am I testing positive for cyanide? You feel me? Why do I had pneumonia 3 times? So people like, man, why he breathe like that? Because I only got one lung. And then I had a car crash. I got one nostril permanently blocked. And I done had pneumonia 3 times. Somebody been trying to poison me. My brother got poisoned with me. The little lady I was bodyguarding, she got poisoned. Like, somebody is carrying on these antics. These is facts.
Is there any idea why Diddy would want to poison Jamie Foxx?
You get called to testify if you on camera and some of this footage and you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself. It's ways in this industry people go about doing things. Just know I tested positive for cyanide 3 times. After drinking some bottles in the club. And once you get hit with the cyanide, it turned into pneumonia. I had it 3 times.
The industry wanted multiple funny black comedians at once, so nobody felt too untouchable, the story goes. Spreading the spotlight so nobody could stall a project again. First headline to spiral was Martin Lawrence in 1996. Police picked him up at a busy Sherman Oaks intersection, and reports say he had a firearm and was shouting that someone was trying to take him out, which had fans scared and confused in real time. According to a witness, Martin yelled, "Fight, don't give up, fight the power," as he was being taken to the hospital, which sounds terrifying. But the coverage mostly framed it as a manic episode and hospitalization, while tabloids painted him as troubled and hinted at substances without hard receipts, turning a scary moment into messy speculation. Here's where it gets darker.
After Shooty came out, he said, well, we didn't find where it was coming from, but he is having a stroke. He may be able to make a full recovery, but it's gonna be the worst. My youngest daughter, she's 14. I didn't want her to see me like that, but she snuck into my hospital room with her guitar. They said I was paralyzed. Said I couldn't walk.
Doctors who treated him reportedly denied those substance claims, saying there was no medication involved in that breakdown. And then, just 3 years later, he nearly lost his life during a medical emergency, which only fueled more questions about what really happened behind the scenes. Not long after, in August 1999, he collapsed while jogging in heavy heat, fell into a coma, and thankfully survived. Still, when he woke up, fans felt something had changed in his energy and momentum, like the spotlight wasn't as warm as before. Since then, his career path has had ups and downs, and people around him have whispered about lingering health struggles. Nothing we can diagnose from the outside, but the concern has been loud for years, and the timeline still raises eyebrows to this day. Jamie faced his own scare in April 2023 when headlines said he was hospitalized after a stroke, and the internet went into full panic mode. Fans praying, timelines buzzing, everybody asking what really happened. Then the rumor mill kicked up dust.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to L.A. and in his first year in L.A. he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years?
People online claim someone was trying to take him out, saying the stroke came from poison. But none of that was confirmed by docs or law enforcement, so it stayed chatter, not proof. That whisper started with Diddy's former bodyguard, known as Big Homie CC, who flat out accused Diddy of being behind Jamie's illness. He claimed they got him by poisoning him with cyanide, and said Diddy tried the same on him twice, even alleging his brother got hit during one attempt. But again, that's his story with no verified receipts. He even said the reason Jamie stayed quiet about the details was because he reported Diddy to the FBI for poisoning, but didn't have enough evidence, so nothing went public. No court filings, no official case, just a heavy allegation floating in the air. Meanwhile, Kevin hasn't had mysterious health issues like Jamie or Martin, but Katt Williams has gone at him hard. Katt said Kevin is a sellout who was slid in to replace him after Katt turned down Hollywood deals to save his soul, turning the debate from health scares to ethics real fast. Katt pushed further, saying Kevin's rise was not organic, and that he is just an industry plant being funded by the white man, which is a bold claim he owns. But it's still an opinion without hard documentation, so take it as his perspective, not settled fact. He also put Kevin on blast as a so-called Hollywood lapdog, claiming Kevin took movie roles Katt rejected because they made him out to be a homosexual man. That's Katt's wording and angle, not a confirmed behind-the-scenes truth. And it sparked a whole other convo about typecasting and image. Here's the twist. Going off Katt's own words, it sounded like he and Chris were pushed by the same pressure. Yet when asked about Chris, Katt still snapped, calling him a sellout, like Martin, Jamie, and Kevin, and alleging Chris used those passed-up roles as a strategic cover-up for shady ties. But again, that's his claim, not a verified fact. The streets had plenty to say, and some comments hit hard. One viewer laid it out plain. I think Hollywood wanted Chris Tucker to start doing some things that are really immoral, and he said no. By stepping back from the roles he was offered, good for him living life on his own terms for Jesus Christ's sake.
Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Oh, Lord.
If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill. Most of these confident people we see is really delusional.
Well, you don't think they asked Chris Tucker to come back in the second Friday? Smokey was all in Smokey. There ain't no Friday without Smokey.
We all agree to that, and there's no next Friday without Friday, and there's no Friday after next without Friday.
We talk about the role because you said that they don't...
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Chris was allowed to make the decision. At the time that this is happening, Katt Williams is known for smoking weed. Willie Nelson is known for smoking.
Right.
Snoop's known for smoking weed. But none of us is really known except Willie. And I'm saying Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking. He don't smoke like that.
Right.
He in the church. He Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither.
That's someone giving him credit for standing on faith and values. No second guessing. Another voice doubled down with a heavy take. You know, Chris knows Holly. Weird is a wicked place. That's why he said him and Chappelle had similar walk. He will never sell out to the elite. It's deeper than money. Folks really feel like he chose peace over pressure, and that choice still sparks debate today. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Chris Tucker stepping away from the industry, even with big money on the table? And do you believe Katt Williams' claims about Chris being a sellout, or is that just noise with no proof? Drop your take in the comments and keep it real but respectful. Before you slide, smash that like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next drop. Share this with a friend who's into the real behind-the-scenes talk, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for rocking with me, and see you on the next one.